guys, and welcome to the podcast. Happy holidays, and hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving week, restful. Today's guest is a doctor of musical arts turn. She's a registered nurse. And she's also a martial artist and investor. She's done doing a whole bunch of creative endeavors. She's an author, a confidence coach, and an advocate. And I'm really happy to have her on the show to discuss her experiences, her journey, and inspire the audience and add value. So, Alexandra Dotcheva, welcome.
Thank you, Chris, for having me. My pleasure.
Yeah, I'm really interested in your story. So talk about, because you were a doctorate of musical arts and then you changed. And so talk about this journey and what all of the lessons you learned along the way.
The journey was that I was born in Bulgaria. I had Bulgarian parents, of course, musicians, or both musicians. And when you're in Eastern Europe and your parents are certain profession, especially in the arts, there is not much room for negotiation. So they wanted me to be a musician like them. And I started the violin at age 6, pursued a specialized nurse music school for 12 years, then bachelor's in violin, master's and doctoral in the United States in violin. And in 2008, the financial crisis hit the US, and I knew I was not competitive enough, even though I was a decent player, but orchestra started bankrupting, downsizing, and all that. And after 26 years of no science based, only arts, only music, I figured I had to do something different, and I put myself to nursing school. Okay.
Mm.
So spend a lot of time studying, replace the 9-hour violin practice a day with 9 hours, 12 hours reading of textbooks before I even started these prerequisite science classes because I had no science base, let alone in English. And it was interesting. I joined the workforce as a nurse in 2011. Have been a nurse 13 years. And in 2014, I became a real estate investor. I now have 3 real estate investment businesses. I manage them myself. And it has been an excellent transformation all along because I did have a ton of problem with self-confidence and no creativity whatsoever, being confined between 4 walls, practicing all these hours for 26 years and eventually 29 years until I graduated nursing school. So the financial crisis and all the challenges really turned out very well for me. But yeah, investing has been a major part of my life, and I recommend everybody to learn how to invest for the sake of financial freedom and more choices in life.
Well, very fascinating journey. And there's so much to unravel. I was talking with my wife the other night and I was like, yeah, if it weren't for investing, these past years, I would be in a really not as good place. And as at that time, investing takes time, it takes energy, it takes money. And at that time, it's oh man, but then you start to see, and every successful person I know is always investing either in themselves or in assets. And really, so we'll dive into kind of the topics. One thing is talking about is just a lot of people, they put their heads in the sand and the world is changing, but and they still hold on to these ideas. And now we have artificial intelligence coming that's going to upend a lot of people. So how do you assess your current life situation and create concrete goals?
I just really stay updated with the times and I constantly learn because I'm approaching 50. And in order not to get old and obsolete, I have to keep up with all the pace. And keep in mind that in Bulgaria, I hadn't touched a computer till age 23 when I passed my TOEFL test for as a foreign language for the college requirement for America. That's the first time I touched a computer keyboard, and that was scary. So when I came here in 2000, some nice graduate student helped me create my first email address. So I was so behind with technology when I came. And I kept insisting, just like you said, so buried my head in the sand for a long time because I just wanted to play the violin and be a performing musician. Couldn't care less about anything else. And life hit me so hard that I learned, yeah, you have to get up to date with technology if you ever want to progress in life. And then the whole medical system turned electronic, as we all know. Keeping up with the goals. So the goals have to be really, I like realistic goals and then I like crazy goals. And I'll give an example with my fitness routines. After 12 years of martial arts, I was excellent at push-ups and lots of techniques, but we have never done pull-ups. So at 41, I started learning pull-ups. By 43, I was able to do 100 pull-ups with my own weight, and I still do that with per fitness session. And somebody said, why 100 pull-ups since you can't even do 2? And I said, because it's an awesome way to stretch my imagination and crave towards something that seems really crazy, but I want to achieve. And I was dead set on getting to 100 pull-ups. And that's how I set all my goals, Chris, including with investing. Like, for instance, it took us, 5 years to pay off our house. Most of my investment properties are clearly paid off. Okay. So it's not so much it is fear from what's happening with the banking system, but also the challenge of what you can do with yourself and how far you can push yourself beyond your comfort zone. Because I was very stuck in a comfort zone for more than 2 decades. And now, knowing how bad that is for the mindset, I do everything to counteract this tendency of lazy mindset and indolence of mind.
Mm. Yeah. We're going to talk about your book in a little bit and really fascinating this martial arts, and a lot of your story resonates with me. We were talking how I wanted to be a professional trombone player, and I realized that I had no talent, and my parents were like, become a doctor, which in itself, and then I just buried my head. I kept my head in the sand. I missed the tech boom. I missed out on all these like Facebook and Google, and had to catch up. I could learn social media, all the websites, and just really investing. We share a lot of commonalities. The What I really love is you've written a book called It Really Is Simple: A Holistic Approach to Self-Confidence and a Practical Guide. And what inspired you to write this, and how can the audience who are listening benefit or get inspired by looking at the concepts in your book?
There were lots of people who knew me very well and started asking questions. So what did you do with yourself? Because you were the least confident person we knew. What happened that you transformed your life like this? And then strangers were like, how are you in this crazy physical shape? And you're a nurse and an investor. What are you doing? How you do that? And then I figured, okay, so what would have been a book that I would have loved to be able to read 15 years ago, 12 years ago, when I was starting on that, when I went through my early midlife crisis at 32, and I realized I wasn't a competitive enough musician, and I had to face reality for the first time, really pragmatically in my life. And the system of the book immediately came in my mind, because I figured, okay, these are 5 life pillars. There is health, there is spirituality, there is the career, there is the finances, which career and finances are not necessarily the same, because you can't very easily get rich on a job. So you need to learn how to invest to build wealth perpetually. And then the final pillar is the relationships, who you choose to get influenced by, okay, and who you spend your time with, how you prioritize your time in relationships. So I came to, actually, I gave myself an account that whatever I was doing with my health, I was applying the same principles in my other 4 aspects: the spiritual, financial, career, and relationships, which is basically first of all, you really have to sit with yourself and be extremely honest and create your goals and figure out what is preventing you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish or what's missing in your life. Then you have to clear the trash from your life in every one of these 5 aspects. Then you have room to actually put the things that you want in the place of the things that you didn't need and that were harming you and preventing you from accomplishing these dreams. And I wrote the book just exactly as a practical guide. That's the most selling point, is the practical guide, because it's a very robust advice. It's exactly what I'm doing. It's very experience-based. Obviously, I'm big on diet because, see, when I became a healthcare professional, the biggest cultural shock was not so much the workload and the patient sickness. I was expecting that, but actually how many healthcare professionals were walking around carrying every disease known to man and educating the patients how to live healthy. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be that type of healthcare professional. So I became whole food, organic, vegan. I'm a fitness freak, detox every day, liver, because of the toxins that we're exposed to. And you have to be a 100% example to your patient and loved ones if you want to have any credibility as a healthcare professional in a system that is turning the patients into cash cows, basically, based on decades-long chronic disease maintenance.
Yeah.
So this mindset I also transfer in my career, in my finances, and in my relationships. And of course, the peace of mind, spirituality, lifelong learning, and inspiration. That's the spiritual aspect. It really uses the same exact system. So in the book, I'm showing how this is very applicable in all aspects of life. And I absolutely insist, because later on I became a coach also, because they said, why did you write this book without having a coaching business? I said, because the book is the coaching business. You don't have to pay me thousands of dollars for mentorship if you actually purchase a book very inexpensively and apply what I'm saying, right? The system is such that throughout, I insist people, I never thought I would do any of these things when I was a musician. And if I could do it, so can everybody else.
Mm.
And that's the main point of the book.
Yeah. Yeah, what I really fascinating, I encourage the audience to check it out. The links will be in the show notes, and later on we're going to be talking about martial arts and mindset. And what I gathered from your experiences learning and training because basically musicians, I have a lot of friends that are musicians, and basically it's basically a small fine motor athlete. You have to have the same dedication, and you have to have the same mindset, and you're still performing. What is the role of martial arts and spirituality in your, and how does it help you succeed in your business, your finances, your career, and in your social, in your relationships?
That's a tremendous point, which I address in the book very extensively from chapter 1 and chapter 6, because ever since childhood, I was very socially awkward. We had bullies at school. And during socialism in Bulgaria, they were playing mostly movies from socialist countries, well, some Italian and French, but also the Chinese martial arts movies was like my absolute favorite. And I asked, how can I not be a karate master? I started practicing secret in the bedroom. My father found out and he just almost killed me because how can you practice karate on your own? You're going to break a finger. You will not be able to play the violin. Forget about it. You're forbidden to talk about it for now on. And he just put my dream in a matter of 15 minutes. He just exploded when he found out. The other thing that happened when in 1981, when the regime fell and we started converting to democracy, so to speak, there were tons of girls who went abroad to work and they were turned into prostitutes and raped and all that. And I had always this fear, oh my gosh, what if this happens to me? Of course, I'm never going to respond secretly to an ad on the street to work as a waitress somewhere in Germany. But I had this constant nagging in my head that if somebody ever attacks me, I wouldn't be able to defend myself because I would be a chicken and not know what to do. Because of that dream that was crushed many years ago that I wanted to be a karate master. So in the States, finally, it came to a point that there was a house where we rented and I was very close to a karate place and I was 30. I said, that's it. I don't care. I'm 30. It's late, but I'm going to start anyway. And then the teacher she saw me that for several sessions. She said, I've never seen such an angry white belt in my life. She says, I have 26 years of experience. She says, you're going to be a black belt. And then I changed schools and all that. So I went in a school with very good teachers, national champions, and martial arts mindset, the perseverance, the self-respect, the respect for others. And really, Payne is an awesome teacher because my teachers were old school and they didn't hold back anything. And you spar, it hurts. It really hurt. And you get to hurt other people, but you get hurt quite a bit. And all this, because I practiced it for 12 years. So I got the mindset, because you can always learn technique. That's not hard, but the mindset of the black belt, of not giving up, of persevering through pain and your anger and your ego, suppressing your ego for the sake of protecting somebody else's body. And even if they hurt you bad, you still have to behave professionally. So that was a big thing for me because I had lots of anger issues. I had tons of anxiety issues when I was a musician. And then the goal of the masters was, of course, for us to be able to apply all these mental techniques into the real dojo called life. And if you're able to transfer what you learn in the dojo into your real life, you will prosper in every way. The problem is most people, of course, in America use martial arts mostly as a social club. So you distance yourself from these people and you stick with the ones that are taking it seriously, and you create that atmosphere almost in a like that situation when you spar together or do katas or whatever you do, self-defense techniques. And it works very well. To the present day, I treat my fitness sessions as sparring sessions or like street fights. Say I'm going to bike 12 miles on the bicycle on full resistance from start to finish. I'm not going to wipe my sweat. I'm not going to take a sip of water while I'm doing that 12-mile at full resistance, because my master told me, if you are in a street fight and you decide to stop and wipe your sweat, you're going to become a statistic. And I integrate this mindset with all the things I do, and I can do that because it just really allows me to endure longer times and challenge myself more and more every time, even beyond the goal that I have for the day.
Oh, yeah. I was always fascinated with Bruce Lee, and not really just,
Wow.
I was just fascinated with his training methods and how he was experimenting,
Amazing.
and
Amazing.
his philosophy, really the philosophy
Yeah.
and spirituality really resonated. And in your bio is you have this area talk about mind training techniques for lasting success, and especially like when things are super hard, like it could be in your business, or could be a failure, or even like in like training when your body's just fatigued. What I'm curious, what type of techniques you use to train your mind to lasting success.
In chapter 1, there are 3 words that we're eliminating from our vocabulary. I won't tell you all 3, but I'll tell you one. The word tired is eliminated from the vocabulary. So that word does not exist, period. You scratch it from you censor it. It's non-existent. The mind techniques are in chapter 1 and chapter 14. So the other very important mind technique, and that is so common in people, especially in academia, where academia mistakes are condemned. And you will understand that because doctors, a surgeon cannot just make a mistake and smile, or a pilot. But if you're not a surgeon performing life-saving surgery, if you're not a pilot flying several hundred people across the ocean, you can embrace failure and learn from it, because real life really teaches from mistakes. And that was the main reason why I waited so late till 32 to venture into a new profession. I knew at 27 that I was my brain was such that it might benefit from a different career. I knew it secretly, but never ventured because I was afraid to fail. And see, with music, when you practiced more than 20 years, when most people think about retirement, barely starting auditioning for a job. And you're thinking, okay, so I'm not competitive enough. I've practiced this for 25 years and I didn't master that profession. What makes me think I can learn another profession in 4 years in college? That's just absurd. So that fear of failure was so deeply ingrained. That's what I had to change. So many of the mind techniques in the book help with that. If you have to address your fears and you have to embrace failure, you absolutely cannot be afraid of failure if you want to make any progress with your life.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I love that. And because I know I've always been fascinated with just the Eastern European way of training their Olympic athletes, just like visualization and the way they mentally, not only just physically, but mentally condition their athletes and perform at the highest levels, which is, I've always been fascinated with psychology and just personal development. The other question, because you alluded to US healthcare is, quite frankly, it's a joke. And they want you to be sick so that the drug companies and they can get rich off of you, the insurance companies. Talk about how to keep your body free of toxins and what does that mean?
Once you learn that your body is constantly exposed to between 20,000 and 2 million toxins every day, and that's not just the food, but also the air, water, environment. And we have minimized all the chemicals in the house, extremely mindful about that. But the toxicity, I have been always a big advocate for stimulating your body to increase its own resources. So in the liver's case, that will be the glutathione, that powerful antioxidant molecule that's reduces free radicals and cleans so many things and boosts your immune system, which decreases with age. The immune system decreases with age, and so does the liver's production of glutathione. So I find every way to increase my glutathione production every way. Now, on a daily basis, some people take glutathione like supplements. I don't take any supplements, Chris. I know that glutathione can be also plant-based in some cases, because I'm vegan. I don't want to consume any animal products, but going through the GI system, it gets digested. So it's nothing like stimulating your own liver to produce its own resource. Okay, so that's where I'm geared with the detox. And I do it relentlessly every day. I don't compromise at all unless I travel to see family, which is once every 2 years. So once every 2 years, I can afford not to detox for 10 days. But other than that, I may document on my patients till 12 midnight. I don't care. I'm detoxing after that. That's nothing that I say, oh no, it's going to be tomorrow. It's absolutely going to be today. Just like with the fitness routines and like my diet, I don't compromise at all. Okay, because your first source of detox really is your diet, but then there are specific detox that you can do orally or rectally, however you want. Okay, so many choices. So people are comfortable with different things. So when I teach people, I teach them the most economical ways to detox. They're not necessarily the least time consuming, but you deserve to dedicate an hour of your day to yourself. Okay, so I tell you, it's nothing wrong with that. You're no less important than anybody else. And yes, you need to focus on your diet preparation, your detox, and your exercise, because that's what keeps you young and healthy.
Yeah. So one thing is that I've been experimenting with is this idea of just fast. And I know some people, it's incredible, do 3, 5 day, 7 day fast. But
I did a 3 days fasting in September. My next one is due in March,
Yeah.
72 hours. And intermittent fasting at least twice a week, 13, 14 hours.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
And how about sauna? Is that a good way to detox as well? Sauna or
It can be. See, I'm in Arizona, so going outside in the summer at 114 degrees, I don't even have to pay for a sauna. Now in the fitness, I have reservations because I don't know the hygiene of the other people, so I don't use the fitness sauna. I just use my backyard. But sauna is great. Wet or dry sauna, depending what you want to accomplish, is, of course, if you have access to that, it's nice. However, again, I like herbal preparations for specific liver detox. to address the glutathione production in my body, and also decreasing inflammation through a lot of turmeric consumption. And again, I don't buy capsules because I don't know what's in the capsules. I buy the actual organic powder and then I blast myself with it. Then you ginger. There are tons of foods that have amazing properties to eliminate inflammation and boost your immune system. Okay, but saunas, detox, yes. Will I use it exclusively? No, because sweating itself, for one thing, I sweat a lot when I run and bike because my cardio routines are ridiculous. But sauna is a nice variety. It feels very nice. It's very pleasant. You just sit there and sweat, and that's nice. But that'll make me very lazy, though, Chris. If I go to the sauna, then I might decide to substitute for the cardio, and I'm not going to give the cardio up because it's painful, and I like that pain tolerance.
Yeah. Also, on the note of toxins, there's also toxic people or toxic emotions or thoughts. How do you deal with those?
Meditation, for one thing, right? So meditation is the detoxification of the mind. As far as the spiritual aspect, the mind has to detox through meditation, then it has to have wonderful nutrition through wonderful inspiration sources, and it has to have a fitness routine through lifelong learning of things that it doesn't initially understand. So what scares your mind, you need to understand. Whether it's some difficult topic with unfamiliar vocabulary, some jargon for a different field of human knowledge, you always want to challenge your mind. That's your fitness. Now, as far as the toxic thoughts, I do passive and I do dynamic meditation. Okay. So the passive meditation is to clear the mind, but then the dynamic meditation is to reinforce my affirmations and my goals and to solve problems. Dynamic meditation is for problem solving through very clear visualization and imagination, depending whether you want to go in your past to remember something clearly or in your future to visualize, to imagine it, to create the goal and make it part of your mind so you can start working towards it very, very intensely. But that really keeps my mind busy enough to not allow toxic thoughts. And that's a good thing you mentioned that because, like I said, I was a very angry and anxious person. So I was full of toxic thoughts when I was younger. I wasted my youth in a very dumb way for that reason. But now it's under control. Once you turn anxiety into a friend, okay, because anxiety basically is there to tell that you can do something better or you have altogether missed to do something that you should have done. And you know it, but you don't want to admit it and you get anxious because you're not stupid. You know that you should have done something that you didn't do. And your anxiety is telling you basically, okay, wake up and let's get this done because you have other things to do as well. So you befriend your anxiety and then everything changes in your life. And it's not an overnight process. Absolutely. It took me several years to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. How can people find you and follow you and reach out to you and learn from you?
I have a website. It's called holisticselfconfidence.com. The paperback is available in the US of the book. It's really a simple, a holistic approach to self-confidence. The ebook is available worldwide through the website, much cheaper than the paperback. It's also the same price on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, Smashwords. It's all the ebook is available on its websites, but the paperback people can find from the United States and ship to the United States.
Yeah.
Alonja.
Yeah, I really like that. And thanks so much for coming on and keep up the great work.
Chris, thank you so much for having me. Thank